So the way old value works is that we supply a key and we also give it a default value. In case the key does not exist, what do we put as a default value? So we say if not empty inside the post variable, whatever key we were supplied, if it's not empty, then return it. So we say return this very item right here. So let me paste that there. Otherwise, if things don't work, let's return the default value. Okay, like so. It's as simple as that. So now if I go here and put value on each one of these, so say value and then do old value like this and then close that, then I can put an appropriate key on each one of these. So here I will put username. This one is for email and this one is for password. Okay, great. So if you wanted the default value here, you can add it here as the second parameter, but for now this is fine. So I'll refresh the page and you see the old value is there. So let me put an email and let's try this again. So password is required. Let me put a password like this, password, and then save. So as you can see here, everything is working as intended. We have a user and yeah, user, email, we can't show the password, so this is all good. But let's check in the table here and see how the records have been stored. So there is the password that is encrypted, email and username and ID as intended. Okay, now using this we can also create an edit version of this. The only difference is that with the edit we need an ID to retrieve the old information. Okay, so if I click here, it should take me to something that looks like this. Oh, wait a minute. The reason it's doing this is because I forgot one thing, which is we should put this in an if statement to only run this when we post. So if the saver query, what's the request method? Oof, I almost forgot that one. So when the request method is post, because there are two request, no, not just two, there are several request methods. So when the request method is post, this is when we should run this, not on the get, but on the post, so that we only run this when things are posted. So let me go back, let me click new, and it shouldn't show me any errors until I click save. Okay, great. So now with the edit is similar to new. Let's go to the users thingy here. Let's look at the link to the new. So let me grab that and let's come down here, paste and paste there as well. Let's put the closing A tags and bump everything over. So this one is not new, this one will go to the edit and this one will go to the delete section. And then on the edit here, on both of these, we actually need to put a an ID. So say row ID and close that, because we need to know which row we are editing and which one we are trying to delete. So that's the thing there. So if I now refresh and click on edit, it will take me to the edit section, as you can see there. So all I have to do is copy everything from here and paste it in the edit section. Paste. Just change instead of new, we say edit, and then now we can utilize the default value here to put the row. So just put a comma and say row and then point to the default value. So either username or email here, whatever the default values are, and password. Now password, we will not put a default value. Instead, what we would do on the edit, we just say leave empty to keep old password. So you leave it empty to keep the old password. That's what we'll do. So there we go, password, that will be empty because we can't really show the encrypted password. That's not good. Okay, but we need to have this row going on, and it's also possible that there might not be a row at all. So what we need to do is put an if statement here and only show the form if everything is good. So we just say if not empty row, like so. Okay, and let's go to the end and close that PHP, and if zoom in. Okay, but I'll duplicate this and put an else here so that we show some kind of message if things didn't go well. So we'll put an alert instead. We have an alert here, so I'll copy that. And I'll just change here and say record not found. With an exclamation point, of course. And then I'll grab the back button and put it here so that at least the user can go back. Okay, great. Now, since we don't have a row here, and in the admin section, we need to have a edit function, otherwise things won't work. So there's users here, but the action will be edit, right? Okay, so actually things is good, things is okay. So it seems I'll need more if statements here, because depending on what the action is, we should do that a different thing when we post. So I'm going to grab this and put this here as well. So say if action is equal to new. This is the only time we will use this, which we have done here. So I'll move this there, remove this one, and there we go. So if action is equal to new, then we do that. But then we'll have an else statement, and if action is equal to edit, we do something else here. Okay, cool. Actually, this should be the opposite. What I should do is this. Let me move this outside, like so, and then move this inward, like this. Oopsie daisy. Let me shift them using arrow keys, usually much nicer. Let me duplicate that. I'll remove this last one here. Oopsie. Look at that. Deleted everything. Let me move that over. So this is what I've done. So if action is equal to new and something was posted, that's when we do this. But if action is equal to edit, we should also check if something was posted before we try to do this. Duplicate that, move that over. There we go. Now, if something wasn't posted, whether something was posted or not, if you look at this, there's edit, which is the action, but there's one more param here, which is the ID. So I am expecting to find an ID, so just do ID is equal to null. So in case, actually even here I can just use null instead of empty. So sometimes we may have an ID, sometimes we may not. That's why we're setting them to these. But if we do, there will be an ID here. So, and if we are on the edit section, then we expect there should be an ID. So let's try and find a row here. We will use the user class. So let's say user, and this one is, we just want one record, so we'll use the first and say ID, where ID is equal to whatever ID was supplied over there. So that's how we read from there without using a query. And then if something was posted, then we have to update. Now, when it comes to the password, we should only encrypt the password if the password is not empty. So we'll say if not empty. So if there's something in the password, then we can utilize that. Actually, let's just say if the password is empty, then unset the password. Okay. But if it's not, let's do this. Let's put an else statement. So if the password is empty, remove it altogether. If it's not, then hash it. Okay, great. After that, we don't insert, we update. But it's easy to update by just adding an ID over here, like so, and then a comma. So ID, and then the data. It's like this because that's how we created our model. If we go to the model here and look for the, where is this, the update function, you'll see that it just needs an ID and some data. That's all. If your ID column is different from the word ID itself, you can supply it here, which means if your identifier column, for example, is not ID but post ID or user ID, then you can add it here and say user ID, like that, to tell it that that's the column it should use to find the update. So that's how it is. You may want to find by ID, by view, by date, whatever column it is. So with this, and then we redirect back, things should work as nature intended. So let us see how things work when we refresh the page. So it says user record, edit user record not found. So let's go back. Let's click again. Record not found. Why? Well, the reason is when we read the row here, wait a second. So we should put this inside data for it to go to the view side. Otherwise, it won't go to the view side. Okay, great. So if I refresh, now we are good to go. So wait, back, eared it. Let me try and add a number. So usernames can only have letters. Password is required. Well, password is not always required. So let's go back to our user model and fix that. So if, for example, wait. So username, password is required. Is it? Okay, so the way we've done it is we've put an ID here. So when the ID is present, it means we are editing. So we may not need the password. So we'll say if ID and the password, wait a minute. If there is no ID and password is empty, then password should be required. Yep. On the other one, it's optional. So let's try this again. Let me see if I try to save. It's still saying password is required. That's because we haven't supplied the ID. So when I am validating here and I'm validating an edit, which is an update, I should supply an ID over there, so it knows this is an edit. So username can only have letters. Okay, great. Let's put 2 like that, and let's save. And as you can see, it has edited just fine. Let me remove that and save, and there it is. Okay, so in the same way we can do the delete. If I click, we're coming to delete. Delete is very similar to edit. So this is for the user function, which is the user section. Now what you can do with if you're putting a lot of code here it's not so much code for the edit, for the new, but if you happen to put a lot of code, you can simply add more view files and simply include them here. Or maybe not more view files, maybe more controller files, and then just simply load them here so that they can be as long as they need to be. The code in there can be quite extensive. So let me do this, and let's do delete here. Let's change that to delete. When we are deleting, we don't care about passwords and all that. We also don't care about validation. So I'll do this. Here, this one is delete. We also don't need to supply any data, just the ID is enough. And then we do need to read that row. And yep, that's pretty much it actually. Yep, I guess. Okay, so with all that, we can now copy the user PHP. The edit is more closely related to the delete. There we go. So here, instead of edit, I'm going to say delete user record. Just in case of errors, we'll show them there. Now these guys, we want to show the username, the email. We don't need to show the password. So, and also save, we'll change to delete for this. And let's change that to a red color by putting danger. And record not found, that's legit. And then here, old value can stay, but I want to change these guys to divs. I don't want them to be valid inputs. So div, let's remove all of this. Type, the class can remain. And let's see, the names are not necessary, placeholder not, all that isn't. Only that divs require closing divs. And then these old values, so-called, can be in there. Boom, in between the div. Alrighty then, this looks like it's working. Let's refresh, and there we go. So that these are not editable. Delete user record, back, delete. Let's try and delete it, and there we go. Simple as that. So there we go. Email. Let's try and see if it will not accept without a password. Okay, password is required. Great. And let's save. Okay, so let's add another user. Mary. Password. Mary@yahoo.com. And let's save. Okay, so we have, just like that, we can have records new, edit, delete, all are working as intended. Okay, so with this, we have some kind of basic authentication, even though it's not really that useful. So let's make it useful because at least now we can log in as one of these users. So let's make sure we do that. Then after this, we can simply copy this users thing we've done here to every other item here. And yeah, so let's do that. First of all, let's authenticate. So let's extend the user model here for a second. So currently we just have one model for user, but we're going to have a model for every table we create. So this will get extensive very soon. So in here we can put, because users are the ones that's supposed to be authenticated, so let's put a public function in here and call it authenticate. All we are doing is saving the user role into our session. That is all. So here we're just going to say session user. Now you can use any key of your choice here, it doesn't matter. Just create your own and use it. Is equal to row. Simple as that. We've authenticated. And then here we can also use the logout. So if you want to log out user or de-authenticate, you can simply check if this exists and then unset it. So say if not empty session user, then unset it. And this is all. That's how you log out. Okay, so you can use simple functions like this to check if somebody's an admin, somebody's a user. If you had a row for a column for row and there's admin, there's whatever, you can put a function to just check is the current user, what's in the column for row, and then you can tell if somebody's an admin or not. But in this case, everybody that's logged in is practically an admin. So just log out and authenticate should do just fine. Also, we can have a check to see if somebody's logged in. So let's just do this and say logged in like that, so that we can do if logged in and then we can return. So here, if not empty that, then return true. So here we just return true or false, or return false, just like that. So if this is not empty, then the user is logged in. You can do more extensive searches. You say if this is not empty, then you do another check to see if things are legit. Is it there in the database? Does it exist, this row, etc., etc. So you can go as deep as you need to. If it's empty, it will return false, which means we are not logged in. So this is good enough for the purposes of our authentication. So I'm going to go here and say, where is the logout page? So we have the same way we have login, we can have logout. So let me grab this, go to a new file, paste. This doesn't need a view file. This is just a logout thing. Logout.php, and logout there as well. So all we are doing is let's redirect the user to the login page. You can either redirect to the login page or the home page. That's up to you. But before we redirect, let's create a new user class, and then we use the user logout function. Simple as that. Then let's redirect. Okay, great. So with that, we should be done. So here, If I click sign out, boom, it logs me out. Great. And if I now go to the admin, I'm back here. But let's make sure we're logged in when we're in the admin section, right? So here all we need to do is right about here. User, after creating new user, we'll say if not user logged in. That's a function. So if the user is not logged in, redirect to the login page. Simple as that. So I'm going to grab this and put it here as well. Just like that. Okay, so that we make sure people are logged in before they can get here. So there we go. Now we need to sign in before we can do stuff. So I'm going to go to the user section for this error thingy. I'll grab this error thingy here and go to the login page. Where are we? Login view. So right here it says please sign in. Maybe after we can paste that so that in case there are any errors we use that. And then let me go to the login part here. So all I need here is a new user class. And then when the user logs in, I need to find a record. So I'll say like that. So let's find one record where the email should be equal to the supplied email from the post variable. And so which means we should only do this when, where is that if statement? I don't want to retype. Let me grab that. Great. Okay, so if something was posted, let's create a new user class and let's read from the database to see if we can find the posted email, if there's a record with that. So then we can say if row, which means something came back right. Now if nothing came back right, then we want to create data errors should be equal to, actually inside errors there should be one called email, which should be, it doesn't really matter actually, it could have worked without that. Say wrong email or password, exclamation point. Okay, then let's put data here. Now data may not always be present, so what I'll do is I'll grab this, put it at the top here and set it to an empty array, because here this is the only part that was creating data, and so if we didn't post anything it would say data is undefined, so that's why we are just setting it to an empty for now. So if the row is present, let's compare and see if the passwords are correct. So I'll say if password verify, so there's a function called password verify, just like there's password hash. So here to ask me the password, this is unhashed password. So this one is the password supplied by the user now. Then we have another password in the row. This one is saved in the database, is called the hash because it's a hashed password. What did I type? Okay, so there's an if statement here. If the password is verified, that's good. Let's redirect to the admin section. And also, let's authenticate, shall we? So say user authenticate. This is the function we created earlier, and I'll add in that row that we got. So that's how we log in. And if I go back here, we should be able to add old values as well, just for the email, I guess, maybe even the password. So let's say value, let's use old value and close that, come back, email, and the password here. Alrighty then. Remember me we can do, but it's a little bit complex, so I don't want to waste time on that. But a hint is that we'll add a token. If there's remember me, we'll save it in the cookie, and then we can always just, if our session does not exist, we can use the information in the cookie to read from the database and then authenticate the user. But unfortunately, we don't have the time to do that. So clicking sign in doesn't seem to be doing anything. It should tell me at least wrong email or password, but it isn't. So what's happening? Data errors. What's going on? Oh, so it is finding there. Okay, so if I didn't show what happens if the password is wrong. So similar thing here. Wait a minute, this shouldn't matter. No, it shouldn't. Because for as long as we are not redirected here, something went wrong. So this should take over. So what's going on here? Okay, I want to see how far we are going. So when you're not sure what's happening, just echo out a bunch of stuff. So here I'll refresh. So none of this is going on. So we're not getting to this place here either. Let me try there. Okay, so we have here. That's cool. Let's move it here. And it's not there. So which means we are not going into this part. So that means we are not supplying a post method. And the only way that can happen is that if our form is submitting as a get. You can also notice this by looking at the question mark that is added when you click submit there, which means we're using the wrong method. So we should use the post method. And finally, there we go. Wrong email and password, but undefined key email on line 18. So that means we haven't given this one a name. Okay, great. So let's add some names. So name, email to the input. Same thing here, name, password to the input. Finally, so wrong email and password. Wrong email or password, still here. Email, sign in, nothing. Let's put the correct password and let's see. And there we go. So now we are in the admin section. So if I copy this path for the admin and sign out, I'm here. Try to go back to the admin. It will take me to the login page where I can log in. Okay. Alrighty then, there we go. So we have a login system that's working. And here, instead of that, we can put our name instead. So let's go to the header of the, where's this? Header view. Now what you can do is if you want to easily be able to read data from the user, what you can do is go to the functions page, right? And create a function called function user. And then we can have a key in there which is set to an empty as a default. In here we'll say user is equal to new. Actually, no, we don't even need that. We just need to check if this is not empty. So let me grab this. Where is functions? So if this is not empty, let's put some of this. And then let's try paste again. So if this is not empty, which means the user is logged in. Otherwise, let's just return an empty string if none of this works out. And then what's going on? It's gotten confused. Oh boy, what is happening? Okay, let me just duplicate that. Okay, so what I want to do is check if the user is logged in by just checking if this is not empty. You can use the is logged in from the user class if you want. And then here also, I want to make sure that the key we're trying to get is available. Okay, then return that. Return that value, whatever is there. So this is how we can return things or get things from the active user, from the active user's row, because they are saved in the session. So we can easily just get what we want. Let's say I want my the email of the user. I'll just type user as a function and then put email in there. That's what I'm trying to do here. But then if this is not empty, but if not empty, if this is empty, the particular key does not exist, or if key is empty, wait, this is a waste of time here. No. Let's put the if statement here. If empty key, then just return the whole thing. Okay, this should work for us. If we didn't supply a key, return the whole row. If we supplied a key, check if it exists and return it. If none of this works, just return an empty string. Okay, cool. So what we can use this for is, let's say I go to the admin section in the header. So instead of the app name that we are showing up there, we can instead say hi and then put a username. So we have app name here, right? So instead I can say hi, and then instead of app name, I'll put user, username, like that. Okay. Oh no, cannot use object of type class as array. What have I done? Oh, right, my bad. So the key should be an arrow. like this, because we are using objects and not arrays. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Let me if I logged in as Mary, that's what will show there. So users, great. Dashboard, users. Okay, so now that we have all of this, let's extend the content to the rest of these guys down here. Okay, all right, so now time to add a few things here as well. So let's start with something simple so that we can copy and easily add it to the front end. So if I go to the front end here, the easiest thing I can see here, we have this section which has an image and all of this, so not so easy to create these. But the contact section which is for these links right here, okay, so this at least we can do quickly. So there's a phone number, there's an email address, and then there's all these links right here. So all we will need to do is add these guys there and we're done. Okay, so we'll need a table to hold the contact, so we'll call it contact table. Let me close all these files here. So what we'll do is we'll duplicate the user model. So copy that, every information there, new file, and paste and save. Now this part is important. So this is contact, right? So let's try capital C, contact. Now the thing is, if you end up having a contact page right here, you will need a contact controller, but then the name of that will be contact.php, which is exactly like this class contact.php in models. So there's going to be a name crash there, which is a big problem. This is why at the end of the day we start using namespaces, but I don't want to confuse you guys with namespaces. They can get quite confusing sometimes. So what we'll do is we just make sure the name has model at the end. If it's a model, that's kind of namespacing already on its own. So contact model, that's what we'll do, like that. You can put an underscore in between if you want, but I'll just say contact model and .php, save. Now please remember to make sure the file name and the class name are exactly the same, so even the capitalization as well. So contact model doesn't look very neat, but that's what we get. Okay, maybe for readability's sake, contact model, then rename this as well, put an underscore there. I think it's more readable that way. And then here the table name will be contact table. And then what will we have in here? So we'll have links to Twitter. So we'll say Twitter link. Let me duplicate this a few times. So there's Twitter link, there's Facebook link, there's Instagram link. I always say this one is InDesign, but this is, what is this? This is, oh my God, it's gone. InDesign is for Adobe Audition or Adobe is an Adobe product, but this is oh my God, it's gone. I'll remember it. This is email. This one is, so that's email. It's just the email, and then phone. Oh, the other one is LinkedIn. Oh my God, LinkedIn, yes. Okay, so those are the things we need for our table. So I'm just going to grab these babies here. Those are allowed columns. Here, all of these are optional things, so we don't really need to validate them, but you can validate them if you want by filtering and adding a preg match to see if they are valid links, but I think that's overkill for us here. So I'm just going to remove all this validation here. There's no need to actually validate anything. We don't need all this authentication stuff, so logged out, logged in. This is only for the user model. And then here, the ID remains as it is. So let me just paste these other guys down here so that I don't miss any of them. So I'll delete all the exclamation points, delete. Okay, and then go home here. Oh, wait a minute. All right, so what I want to do here, these will all be variable characters, and the link could be quite long, so I'm not sure. Maybe 1024, 1024 characters. And then these can be null, can be empty. So let's just put null there like that. Okay, and that does it. So there's email, phone, though email can be 100, of course. And the phone number doesn't need to be this long, it can be maybe 15 characters max. Okay. And we don't need any keys on this one, so this is good enough. And that's how you create a table. Now the name should not be users, of course, it should be contact table, like that. Okay, very cool. Very cool. So now what I want to do is to be able to access that. So this is the users part, right? So I'm going to use this part and duplicate it. Ctrl+Shift+D. Okay, so instead of users here, it's contact. And everything else remains the same. Only that instead of user here, we'll have a different model. This model will be, actually we do need the user model here because we need to know if somebody is logged in or not. So we'll leave that. But from here, what's happening? So from here, it's going to be contact. Okay. Even though we don't need to validate, but who knows? I'll duplicate this and say contact. New contact model. Alrighty then. Now with these guys, there won't be any new record we're going to add. The records that will be there will be permanent. Or will they? Maybe we can add some new ones. Why not? Wait a minute. Maybe this is not very sustainable. Oops. this would mean we need only one record, so there's no need to add a new one at all. So I was right here. There's only one record in the contact. So what I would do is remove this. Make sure we're in the contact section. There's the edit, and we won't be able to delete either. So out. Okay, so just the edit is all we need. We won't need this password thingy, so out. And we are not going back to users. Oops, I went too far. So just for the contact here, this one should go to contact. All right. Okay, I think that actually does it. Now, for us to be able to just edit, we need, here when we create the table, we even insert at least one record. Yeah, so all we need to do is just duplicate this and then insert a record. So we'll say insert into this table values. So we can just insert one row, one item really. It doesn't really matter which one. So let's try Twitter link, and here let's just set an empty like that, and that should do it. So that at least we have one record with nothing in it. Great. So back to the admin section. Once we do this, I can simply do this and say create table. All right. So back to admin. Let's go to contact. Okay, so it says I have an error in my syntax here. Oh, it's because I have a comma at the end there. So sorry about that. Refresh, and there we go. It says view file not found, but at least I'm sure it has created a new table. So let's click on the DB to confirm, and there it is, contact table. There's at least one row, which is nice. That's what we are going to be using, just one row. So now that that is set, we can remove this part that creates the table. And what do we get? Admin contact. So contact does not exist in the views of the admin. So we just want to copy the user version and select all, copy, go to admin, new, paste, save as contact.view, like that. And there we are. So let's name it appropriately. So let me select every part that says user. This doesn't look great at all. So new, let's remove this section here, and we can start our if statement with edit. Let's remove delete because we will not be deleting anything. We'll leave the else. This one, contact. There's no adding new contact, so let's remove that as well. And then here we'll add links. Twitter. Also, the table will be a little bit different. Let's see here. There's Twitter, there's email. There will be action, but let me duplicate this. There's phone here. Facebook, Instagram. LinkedIn. Okay, so with that row there, I'll grab this and let me move it there. So here, let me close that. I want to look at where I'm reading the rows. Instead of find all, it should just be, I think find all is fine. What I'll do is I'll grab this and say contact limit should only be equal to 1. So you can set how many records to get. So the limit should be 1 there. So rows back here. So maybe at the end of the day, we'll still need to, we also need the edit button. So I'll move this away for a second, delete everything in here. I know there will only be one record, so one loop, but let me put everything in here inside that for each loop. And action, let me grab this table data like that. So the way I want to change this is to make each one of these a separate row. So copy that, let me put this here. And then closing row tag. What am I doing here? And then here as well. So this one will be Twitter link. And then I'll grab that, paste, except for the action, which has this one here. Okay, so let's see how that fares. Okay, cool. Then if I click edit, I can, that goes to the user's page. So Twitter, link, etc., etc., action. Contact links. Okay, good. So instead of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, email, and phone. Okay, cool. All right, so this is all good. Instead of users here, I'll select and change all references to contact. So if I now refresh the page, click edit, it should take me here. Back, okay, and edit. Cool. Now on the edit, I need to change these. I think labels will do just fine. Let me change the margin top to margin bottom. That way the label is on the right on the thing there. Okay, cool. Okay, Twitter link. Let's remove the autofocus. I'll leave it there. Now let me duplicate this and change the reference of Twitter to Facebook. Let's remove the autofocus. So let's see that. Okay, cool. So just like this, now let me try and save these and see what happens. All right, so if we try to save this now, let's imagine this is a link and that's a link, and then we hit save. We see the information in there. So everything is working as intended. All we need to do now is expand this to the rest of this. So, and if you want, you can actually validate the links if that's something that you want to do. But in this case, since the owner, this is not available to the public, the one that's adding this information in the admin section is one that really wants to add links here. So let's expand this to the rest of them. So the others are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 more here. So let's go to our views, admin, and contact view. So right here on the edit section, so we have Facebook, Twitter. Let's add 2, 3, 4. Let's see how that does. Okay, so we have Instagram, we have Twitter, let's see, Instagram, LinkedIn, and then email. So let's do Instagram, and then LinkedIn right there. And then we have our email here. And then we can duplicate this for the phone as well. Alrighty then, so let's change these to reflect that as well. So let me copy that and that. Okay, so here we'll go Instagram link like so. And let's do the same here for LinkedIn. And then finally we have email. And then here we have phone. Okay. So let's change this to reflect that. Instagram, LinkedIn, email, and then phone. Finally, phone. Alrighty then. Great. So back here to see what's going on. So if I refresh, then let me click edit. So we have all these here. Some of these we can change to what we want, like email. We can put type email there. Okay, so none of these are required. Let's refresh. Okay, there we go. So let's make sure that everything actually works. So the email obviously should recognize that that's an email, and there we go. So if we go to our table, this is what we have in the table right now. So each one of these will keep the information that you need to keep. Okay, good. Now let's grab this information and actually make it available. Let me make actual links here. Let's put twitter.com and let's go to facebook.com and instagram.com and linkedin.com. Okay, so and a phone number, maybe we can put a let's save that. Okay, so this is the information we get there. Now let's read this information into the front end. So if I now right click here to load the front end like so, and let's go down to the front end. We have any location here where we need, like this right there, where we need those links, we can add them. So what we need to do is check where is this thank you part. So I'm going to get that. Let's go to our home view page, try to find that location, which is right here. And as you can see, there is links right here. So there's a Facebook link, etc., etc. Okay, great. So now with these links here, all we need to do is replace that. And then we also need to change the target so that a user doesn't leave the website when they click to view any of these. So let's add target here. I don't remember how. If you put target like this, I think you should put blank, like so, underscore blank or underscore new. I think that works too. I'm not really sure, but let's put that here as well. Okay, great. So that's for the, and then we have our email here and a phone number. So we start with these guys, 1, 2, 3, 4 guys here. Okay, so when loading this page, which is in the controller here of the page, which is the home page, we can actually load what we want here. Now, in order to read from our contacts, we just need to use our model. So what I would do is I'll just say contact is equal to new contact model, like that. Okay, and then we can say contact, I don't know what you can call this one. You can call them links if you want, or social links. It doesn't matter what you call this, as long as you use the model there to read from the database. So here we want to use the where clause, so we can read where the ID Let's put an array in there. We want to read where the ID is equal to 1 because we simply want to read the first record every single time. If you go to our database here, you'll see that this is indeed the first record. So if we read that first record, we should have the results that we want. So here, since we want to send a variable named data here, that can be any name, we need to make sure that it actually exists. So let's put social links inside data. And then if we go to our home view over here, we should be able to echo out what we have created. So what I'll do is go to the home view page and let's put this right here. Let's see. Now, if you want to see the result of this, you can actually show this just to be sure that you are getting some results. So let's do that. You can also put die if you want so that you are not forced to load the template. And as you can see, this is what we've got. Okay, pretty cool. Now, for this to be a valid link, we probably should have added HTTPS, but let's see how that works without it. Because the problem with these things is if you don't add the HTTP at the beginning, then it may concatenate to the current link value, the current location or path. I'll show you that if it does happen. So what we want is to put these items here, but we need to know if they actually exist before we can actually add them here. So I'm just going to say echo here. We're trying to echo social links, Twitter link. Now it's possible that this does not exist. So what you do is you put 2 question marks like that, and then put an alternative or a default value, which in this case would just be a hash symbol like so. So let's try this with the Twitter link and see. So there we go. We have a problem here. Now I can't really read the error here. So what I need to do is say view page source to see the error and then go down to where the supposed error could be and try to find it. So right about here, what's going on there? Okay, it seems like things are okay. So what's really happening? I think probably it's my code here that I didn't do so well. Oh, okay. So it's this right there. It closed those tags for some reason. So you have to be wary of those things. Okay, so let's try that out. And it seems like it does. Oh no, it only has the. It didn't actually work out. So is it social links? It is social links. Right? We know it brings out the result. We saw the result. Let me undo this though, just to look at the result again. Okay, so the result is inside a 0 item, which means we should use the first instead of the where so that we get just one record like that. This will remove us from the array within an array and take us to an object directly like so. Alrighty then, so let me remove that. That should be long gone. Come back to home view and this should work. So let me just copy this and replace with these guys here. And let's change that to Facebook. Let's change this to LinkedIn. And let's change that to Instagram. Alrighty then. So links should be done here. Refresh. Let me hover on these guys. And now you see the problem here. It says it concatenates twitter.com to the end of this. So what needs to happen is that we need to put HTTP there, so we can tell the user here, like Twitter link. Let's put some labels here just to please enter full links, e.g. https www.twitter.com, like that. Let's put a break tag. Okay, so when editing, we're supposed to put HTTPS for this to work. So I'm going to refresh and click edit. So please enter full links, e.g. And so here I will put, these are not valid links. I'll put HTTPS ://www. So this is what I want to add. Now I could have put some code to add this to the end, to the beginning, if it's not there, but I think it's better to have the user be more responsible and not simply accept the invalid URLs. So let me refresh one more time, and this time it will work. If I click on Twitter, it opens in a very so as you can see, it's opening the right pages, so which is awesomeness. Let's change the email and the number there as well. So back to home view, and I will grab this guy. So I'm going to add this here. I don't know what kind of link you can add to the phone, but I'll just leave this. I think for emails you say mail to or something like this, mail to, and then you put your email there. Okay, and also here, same thing. Let's put email there. The default value could be email at email.com. And let's do a similar thing here. Domain name designed by this one is for the phone, no? Okay, I think that does it. So back here, let's refresh. So you see the new phone number and the new email, and the links are working. So we can test this by just editing that and adding a different email. So I'll edit this, and instead of email, I'll just say admin at email.com and save. So let's see if that will change to admin when I refresh, and you see it does change. So now this part is done. Now you can add more of this content if you want. You can add more columns here if you want to add more, like designed by, domain name, etc., etc. But in our case, there's no need to do that, so we continue. Now we have to replace these areas one by one. So the next thing we can try is our gallery right here. So let's deal with the gallery next. We need one photo that is over here. So this one we can leave as that depends what you want. If I move these guys, they are moving except this photo right here. So this photo is kind of like permanent. So one photo, but then the rest are down here. So how we can make it is that the first photo can be here as the main one, and then the rest of them will be down here in the carousel, like so. Okay, so all we have to do is look for where these photos exist, and then simply remove the rest and loop through it. So we go to, let me copy this text right here because this can tell me where this is in the code. So I'm going to go to the home view page, try to find our photo gallery right there. So of course there's one photo that is, I think that photo is part of the background images. So ID is gallery, right? I have a feeling it's part of the this BG gallery. Yeah, I can't find this top image here, the main image there, so we will have to figure out how to edit that. But nonetheless, we can do the rest of these here. So there's a gallery carousel here, and we just need to look for what's repeating. So there's this gallery item and another one and another one. And as you can see, that's really what's repeating. So let's leave one only of these repeating patterns. So if I go back here and refresh, you see that our gallery only has one photo. Okay, if I undo, let me see how many it does have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just in case we need to know how many was the limit, then we can do it here. Now, if I come back here and refresh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should have this one come next, I guess. Okay, so there's a repeat that happens after we reach our maximum. All right, so what if I leave 2 of these? I just want to see how it relates to changing number of items in here. So it just repeats itself, so this is good. So let's remove all but 1. So now we have a gallery with 1 item. So I need us to go here and click on gallery, but then be able to create, to load in more images. So if I go to users, this is pretty much what we want to create here as well, except it's for images. So let's try and copy, let's see, does gallery exist? It doesn't. So I'm going to go to users.view, copy everything, new admin, paste, save, gallery.view.php. Let's go to admin controller, and let's duplicate the users function. So down here, Ctrl-Shift-D. Let me change this to gallery. Everything else remains the same. Only that now we need a gallery model here. So I'm going to right click. Let me actually get the context model. Copy this. Go to models, new, paste. Save this as gallery underscore model.php and save. So remember to always make sure that the name of the file is exactly the same as the class name. What's the table name? We'll just call this one gallery. Okay, so what can we expect from here? The columns, we just want one column for one image. That's it. So if you're going to have links to these images and you want them to show something, you can put a link column there to add that. But otherwise, it's just the image that we want. Validation though. So to validate this, actually before we do the validation here, let's create table if not exists gallery. So we need the primary key. Let's put a actually I just need images. We don't need links here, so I'll just put this as image. This will store the path to the image. That's it. All right. Image. Okay, so we don't need this. We don't need to add any records. So I'll remove that. Okay, so this is cool. Alrighty then. So we can do some validation here if we want. So for example, I can put in what allowed types I want for images. So here I'll put an array like so. So what MIME types do I want? So first of all, I want, let me put this in brackets. I want image JPEG. So just a few of these. There's also image PNG. I don't know if I should allow GIFs, but why not? And then there's WebP as well. All right, so these are allowed formats. And then I can simply check if inside the data. So say if empty, let's see here, data, we're going to call it file, and then name like that. So if that's empty, then we should add so we add an error here and say please enter a valid, or let's just say an image is required. Okay, so we'll do another else statement and another if. Okay, so else if, or maybe we just do else here and then do more if statements. So say if, what I want to check for right now is the type. So if file, this one right here, so the actual file is found inside temp name, but there's always the type, and then the attributes we get here are type, size, whenever you upload a file. So there's type, which shows you whether the file type, there's file size, there's file type, and then there's error, which shows you if there are any errors. So here what I want to check for is the type actually. So what I want is to check if the type here is included in here. Then if it's not, then we have a problem. So we say if not, oops, here, if not in array, If not in array, what are we looking for? We are looking for this item here, and the haystack is the array itself. Okay. So if it's not there, then let's run an error. We'll say only files of this type are allowed. Concatenate with implode. So I want to implode this part, right? This array to show all the required, all those images that are allowed. Okay, great. Now, if you want, you can check for error. If error is greater than 0, as long as it's not 0, then there was an error in uploading. But there's no need for me to do any of this, so I'll leave it be as it is right now. Okay, great. So in order to get it started, let's go and create that page. So there's gallery view here, which means if I click on gallery this time, I get this. Now we are using users for now, which is not ideal, but let's change everything here. Let me duplicate or find every instance of user and change it to gallery. I don't know if that's appropriate. Let me just do this here and say image gallery. So instead of a table, we're going to have a we're going to loop here. Let's use a div in there, and it's only one item that we want, so maybe edit and delete can remain as well. Let me put a div around those. Let's remove the rest. Alrighty then. But in the meantime, if I go to the admin section, I can actually, since I have duplicated this and done that, I can actually do gallery is equal to new gallery model. I want to create the table. Okay, so let's just refresh. Okay, allowed type on line 38 seems to be a problem. So where is that? So it's saying there's a, okay, so it's a comma that's missing here. Right, so gallery, also, when I copied it, let's go to the admin section here. Right here, instead of users, we've copied this to gallery. So I want to edit every instance of admin/user here to gallery. Let's refresh. Okay, there we go. So now I need to just loop and show the appropriate thing here. So in here, in this position, oh, let me even check if the, okay, so the table was not created. So I guess that's one of the problems. I forgot to put that there. Okay, so it says I have a syntax error in my let's see here, create table if not exists gallery. Okay, so it's this comma at the end here that's causing the problem. So just remove that and refresh. And there we go. So we should have a table now. Okay, cool. So table with just an ID and an image. That is all. And that's fine actually. So back here, I will remove this. And now I want to read all items from the gallery. So let's go right there where I'm reading the information, or was it here? Here it was. So I'll just do this and say find all. Alrighty then. So instead of these we are seeing here, we'll leave the action, we'll just put an image, we remove the username. This is gallery view. So let's remove that. Actually, it's just the image and the ID. That's all. Every instance of ID/users should change to, or admin/users to change to admin stroke gallery, like that. Okay. What else needs changing? Okay, pretty cool. So now to fix these, add new and so on. New record. So here all we need is to add an image. So new is here, add new user record, that's great. And what I want from here is, let me remove the password, email. All right. So what we need to show here is an image, if any. So I'll grab this, put it in the source. Change that to image. Let's remove that. Okay. So let's add some styles here. Width for this 100 pixels. Oops. Height 100 pixels. Okay, cool. Let's try it back. Okay, that's working. New, that's nice. And then we can save. Here I'll just say new image. Let me reference all user records and just say image, like that. Okay, so now we need a placeholder for this image, so that in case there's no image, we at least have a placeholder here. Let me put a break tag there, sorry. And then we also need a button to click. So let's put an input of type file. Name will be, did I use file or image? Let me check here. Wait, where do I check this? Okay, so it's actually image. So what you can do is you can search for image placeholders. Okay. All right, like one of these. So let's click on one of these. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. In fact, I could have just clicked directly on one of these. So any of these that you fancy, empty image like this one, no image or something. Let me click on this one. Let's see. Or maybe this one or that one. All right, this is up to you. A square image would be nice, but this will do just fine as well. So if I do save as, this is a PNG file. So I'm going to go to the same folder, XAMPP, htdocs, templates, Jack and Rose, public, assets, img, and I'll save here. So this is a PNG. So I'll just say, I'll give it a name. You can name it placeholder, that's fine. Let me just remove this one here so it's easier to deal with. So I'll call it no image. Save. Okay, great. So now here we should have that. Let me refresh, and we don't have nothing yet. So let's go to the gallery view right here. So what I'll do is in the functions here, I'll create a function that can grab an image for me. So I'll go here and say function get image, like so. And then here I am going to put a file name. Okay. So what I want to return is, in case the file does not exist, let's return a file that is inside root assets slash and then img slash no image dot png, like so. So that's the default image. So I just wanted to check if the file exists already. So say if file exists, then file name, then we're going to return something else. So I'm going to copy this and paste that. Okay, so instead, if the file does exist, we need the root. So we'll put root and then concatenate that to the file name. So I'll put dot file name here, but here I just want to leave the slash like so. So we'll say get image. So if I go to the gallery here, and instead of old value, okay, I can do this actually. Old value, actually there's no need to do this because this goes in the files. Every file, every image file that you save goes into the, it goes into the files, not post variable, but files variable. So get image like that, and then here let me just leave empty. Now the thing is, I just want to leave an empty here, like so. This one should have an E there. Now, if this is empty for some reason, let's come back to functions. If nothing was provided, this should be an empty string, like so. So if I go back and just do that, that should be fine. Okay, so get image. Let's see how that changes things. If I refresh, this is what you see. Now, of course, it's too large. So width, height, I should have put a semicolon there. And then let's say object fit to cover. That way it's centered. Alrighty then, there it is right there. But this is too small. So let's just do it 300, I guess, and call it even. And then let's put a break tag. Actually, we may not need a break tag here, but let's just add it anyway. Alrighty then, there we go. let me put this guy in the center as well. So I'll just say, where is this? Let's put a class here and say text center. That should work. All right, good. Then I want to be able to click on the image to click this. So all I need to do for that is to add both of these guys inside a label. So there is a label, and we're closing label right after the input tag. Doesn't matter, it could be first or second in line, no problem. Let's move that in. So I've put these in a label. That way, because the input is in this label, if I click this, it should click both things. So if I refresh, they are together. If I click on this, it still loads that, just like as if I'm clicking this. Okay, so now that we have that, this is the input itself that grabs the file. So put some classes here and just say d none, that display for display none. That way it doesn't show up in the view. Then I can simply click on this and that's good. Also on the image here, I want to change the cursor to pointer. That way we know that it's clickable. So I can also put a label and say click to change image like that. Then put a break tag. Okay, and then make sure that on the form you have encoding type changed to multipart /form -data. So if you don't put this section right here, it's not going to upload any images. So make sure this part exists whenever you're uploading files of any kind. All right, I think this actually does it. So let me refresh, click to change image. Great. What's going on here? Why are these guys okay, this has become weird. I want to see why everything is not centered. So it's not about that. So this comes along with this, right? Sometimes if you can't see what's going on, just put a border around the divs so you can tell which div is messing up. So this one is floating this way. This one is in the center, I guess. So maybe I should just float this one to the left. That should do the trick. So I'll just say float start. Let's see how well that handles. Okay, I think that works out. So let's remove that border. Alrighty then, so if I now click, then I can load an image, but I want the image to show here. So let's add a little bit of JavaScript. So on the change event of this one, we'll just say on change. Let's run something. So all I want is on the change event of this one, I want to add whatever item I've grabbed here into this. Now, since these guys are siblings, I can simply say grab the parent of this and then grab this item here. But let's add a simple function here, which we'll call display image. Now I'm adding a function because the last time I tried to put all the JavaScript in here, it didn't work. Then we're going to send this dot files 0. So this, whatever you put in an event listener here is JavaScript. So this one is the function we're going to call. And then this is the actual input. And then it's got an attribute called files, which keeps files, and we would just want the first file. So we need this function to exist. So let's add a bit of a script tag here. Right? And let's do a function real quick. We're going to say function display image, which is right here. So also, instead of having to grab a specific thing here, I can put a comma and put the send in the event. So event is a valid item in JavaScript that describes whatever event was evoked at the time. So here what we'll receive is a file and an event, which we'll just use E in this case. So what I want to do is to use the E to grab this guy here. So I just want, what do I do here? Let's say img.source. Oh, actually, no. We'll say, actually, that worked. .source is equal to URL. There's an object called URL in JavaScript, and it has a what am I looking at? A method called create object URL, like this. And then you can put in the file and it will create a URL from that file, which you can add to the image.source. But we need to know what the image is. So say let img is equal to e.current_target, or we can just say e.target, but let me just say e.current_target. Now, there's a difference between e.target. E.target is what was clicked. So in this case, it's the label. But current target is whichever item had the event listener itself. So e.current_target dot what is this? Actually, that's, oh no, dot parent node dot query selector img, like that. Okay. So what we're doing is this. We're trying to grab the image, this one right here, so that we can adjust its source. So to grab it, what I've done is I've found the current target, which is this one. That's the one with the event listener. And then let's say the dot parent node, which is the label. And then inside that label, I want us to search for any image tags, the first image tag here. So that's why we're doing this. We are moving to the parent and then do a query selector of any images in the label here, and then grab that. And then finally we say img.source. So we want to alter, since we've grabbed this, we want to change its source to the object URL we created. So let's see if that actually works. So refresh, click, and let's do that. And as you can see, it's working very well. Right then. So now to save, and then save in there. So when I hit save here, this image will be posted. So in case of any errors, we're going to see them here, of course. So let's go to the admin section and gallery, and let's see. Okay, so I need to replace these guys here. Wait, did I replace contact, the validate part? Okay, I did. Okay, great. So I want us to replace everything we're using user for with, let's see here, this one right there. Let me do this. Control D. Just make sure I don't overshoot to another function when doing this. And so I will paste. Put the arrow as well. Okay. So now when we are new and something was posted, we'll do the validation, of course. But since we are expecting things to be in the files, variable, that's what I'm going to send there for the validation, because that's what actually the validation expects to see that. So if things passed here, then it's good. Then we can simply move the uploaded file. So let's remove this part here for that there. Also, make sure that we understand the input here is named image. Okay, so that's important. So if everything was validated properly and things worked out inside files, then we are good to go. So what I want is to create a destination for our file, which is the file name. So destination is going to be equal to, we'll create a folder, so we'll call it folder, and then inside that folder we'll create the file name, right. Now for the file name here, I want them to be unique, so we'll put a timestamp like that, and then we will grab the file name. So here it will be inside image, files image, and then name like that. Okay, great. Then the function to actually move the uploaded file is called move uploaded file. So, and then destination. So this one is the source of the uploaded file. Now, like I said, when we upload something, it actually shows up here. What I can do to show you where these values are coming from is, if I come here, if something was posted, then I can say show files. That way you can see what's happening and where I'm getting all these files, image, name. I think it helps to do this. So let me save. And this is where I'm getting it. So inside files, we have the image and then we have name. So if this is not empty, then something is happening. We've posted an image, and then there's type. So the type is image JPEG, which is nice. The temp file is where it's sent to when you upload it. Error is 0. So if you want to limit the file uploading size, you can do that by simply grabbing this. This is in bytes, by the way. If you want to find megabytes, divide this by 1024 and again by 1024. Then you get your value in megabytes. That way you know how many megabytes this user is trying to upload. Then you can reject if it's too much, just using an if statement. Okay, so if I undo this, what I've done here, so destination created, move uploaded file, we've moved it from the temp name, TMP name, don't put any E there as in temp like that, no, it's TMP name. We've moved it to the destination, so the destination becomes the value of interest here, which we are going to put in our post variable. So we'll say post image and set that to destination. That way we can save what we've just added in the post variable now as an image and redirect the user. So simple and straightforward. Yeah. Now, wait a minute here. Okay, so we have that errors thingy. That's great. So let me just do this and let's see if there are any errors. If we click save, we say an image is required. Great. So let's click to add an image. And let's see some images we can actually add that look more wedding-y. So I want maybe, don't really matter. Let's try, some of these are WebP images, so I'm going to try JPEG first. So open that, and then let's hit save. Okay, an image is required, so it didn't recognize that we sent an image. So that's interesting. So why is that? So we went through files, gallery, validate. Let's see here. So it means it didn't pass through here at all. It didn't pass that test. So why though didn't it? says an image is required, so which means this did not pass. Okay, that's because here I'm using file and instead of image. So let me change that to image. Okay, great. Awesomeness. So let's try this again. Now just save, an image is required, but let's do that and let's hit save. And there it is. Things have worked out. Now we have the file path instead of the actual file. So let's fix that. And then we should put an action here instead. So let's go back to gallery view to fix this problem. So right about here, actually, so maybe we were okay with, since we need to be able to click edit and delete. So I guess the table thing was fine. Oh, what have I done? Let me come back down here where I have changed things to be div. Let me change back to table row, but this one will change to table data. I think that's better. So here we'll have the ID number, we'll have the image and some action. So row image, some ID and data. So here we know we want to see an image tag, so we'll put that in the source. And then instead of just saying a row image, we'll use get image, so that in case the image does not exist, it will show us that blank image we created. So I'll do that and close. Alrighty then. Let's put some styles here. So styling there, and say width 100 pixel, height 100 pixels, and then object fit cover. So if you don't add this object fit cover, it will stretch the image. So here I just want it to be cropped. That's why I'm doing that. Alrighty then. So let's try this and see what happens. Okay, that looks much better. Indeed. Let's probably put 200 pixels here. That should be looking a bit better. There we go. And then let's I think that's about it. So once we do that, let's add a few more images. So another new image, let's add a WebP image this time. So WebP and save. So that worked as well. So we can upload WebP. That's nice. The only issue now we have is sometimes people upload large images, or you don't have a way to reduce the sizes of these images. The website should do it for you. So let's do that. Image resizing.